Once my friend Chilaquil became the most famous person in the history of my neighborhood because that bro was as fast as Flash. But one day he lost his mind and said, I bet I can catch Doña Chana's chicken in less than a minute. So we chose the runaway chicken as his opponent. No one had ever been able to catch it, so we started the stopwatch, released the chicken, and Chilaquil started running like it was the Piston Cup. But the chicken dodged him like it was nothing, until Chilaquil made a dive worthy of the Olympic Games, and he landed right in a corn stand, and that's where he knocked out his teeth, and the chicken got away. But he ended up covered in cheese and mayonnaise. Poor guy. Once when I was in middle school, the strictest teacher expelled my friend Jorjito from school for slamming the door in his face. Because I was going to art class, but the teacher didn't show up, and there were only 10 minutes left before class ended. So we started playing, pushing the door so no one could get in. Then at that moment, Chuchito comes out and we shout to Jorjito, push! Push! Don't let him in! And Jorjito, with all his strength, was pushing, as if he were defending the gates of heaven. But then, we saw that Jorjito was losing. And a face peeks in from outside the door. And it was the teacher with crooked glasses. And he looked like an angry bull. But Jorjito kept pushing with all his strength. And we shouted to him, abort mission, abort mission. And then Jorjito looks up. And when he saw the teacher's face, he even fainted. Push! Push! Once I ordered some sneakers online. Supposedly, they were the fastest in the world, and they were going to make me run like Lightning McQueen. I could already feel the speed in my veins, so I waited for them. Like they were the last Coke in the desert, but when they arrived at my house, I almost had a heart attack because they were both left shoes. One was size 28 and the other 32, so I tried to return them. But the store disappeared just like my dad. And the worst part is my mom told me, even if they had arrived correctly, you weren't gonna run fast, dummy. One time, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson wanted to hack my YouTube channel because one morning I woke up and checked my email and there was a new one that said business proposal from SOA Energy, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's energy drink, and I said, whoa, what an offer. So I replied to them. But then they asked me for my Telegram, and I was talking to someone named Sophia. She had a picture my girlfriend called ugly, saying it looked like it was from Pinterest. I didn't care since I wanted the sponsorship. Then she sent me a supposed PDF, but it was actually an .exe file from an application with 59 Trojans and a Morris worm. And then I searched for the supposed photo of Sophia on Google Lens, and sure enough, it was a picture taken from Pinterest. In reality, Sophia was actually a fat guy in his mom's basement. Once when I was a kid, an old fool embarrassed me in front of everyone at the supermarket because my parents and I were watching. There was a demonstration of some glasses for cutting onions without crying. And then the man doing the demonstration says to me, hey kid, come try these super glasses. So I went, they put them on me, and I started cutting onions. But those ugly glasses didn't work for me, and I still started to cry. But the worst part is that because I was crying, the glasses fogged up, and now I couldn't see anything, and the dumb man started making fun of me in front of everyone else. One time, my dog Mickey almost went to dog heaven. Because of me. Because one day I wanted to take him for a walk, but I didn't have a leash. So then, I came up with a fabulous idea that not even Einstein would have thought of. To look for a plastic zip tie. The kind that tightens more the more you pull. And I put it around his neck. But without meaning to, I pulled it too much. And I almost choked my poor dog. But before he turned purple. My 11-year-old self had a light bulb moment. And I ran to look for some scissors so I could cut the tie. And thank God, my parents never found out. I hope they don't see this video. One time I almost died of sadness because of my mom, because she had broken my gaming headphones. That had cost me 5,000 pesos. And I worked half a year to buy them. Cause one day I got home and my mom says to me, sweetie, I lent your super expensive headphones to your little cousin Chanok because his didn't work anymore. And I just stood there paralyzed with fear. I couldn't move and I said to her, Mom, I worked half a year for those. And she replied, well, work another half year. So to make it up to me, she bought me some crappy headphones from the subway. That almost exploded in my ear. And the worst part is that when Chanok gave them back to me, they were full of earwax. And one side didn't work anymore. And on top of everything, toxic LAMBTOXORODENSNEP. One time when I was a kid, I thought there was an anaconda in the supermarket. Because when I was walking through the vegetable section, I saw something moving among the lettuces. And I screamed that there was a giant snake. Then the whole supermarket went into apocalypse mode, with ladies climbing on top of the carts, kids screaming, guards armed with brooms, and a man recording like a reporter. But after half an hour, everyone was paralyzed. The manager arrives with a Czech shotgun, but it was actually a green onion that someone had dropped. And of course my mom found out. So now every time I go to the supermarket, my mom asks me, "Did you catch another anaconda?" The onion! One time, my friend El Cubito was about to eat rat poison at school because that guy spent all his time playing Minecraft. And we used to call him a little rat. So fed up, one day he brought rat poison and in front of everyone put it on his food. To prove to us that nothing would happen to him because he wasn't a rat. But just as he was about to take a bite and was about to put it in his mouth, my friend Solovino showed up and kicked his sandwich so he wouldn't take the bite and go meet God. One time, because of my grandpa's car, I almost wasn't born because my mom took a hard hit to her belly. That day, my mom and dad were in my grandpa's old car, which they called the Pichirillo, but that car was super old. So, at a traffic light, my dad slammed on the brakes and the passenger seat went backwards. So my mom went back with the seat and ended up upside down. And she got really scared because she thought I wasn't going to be born. But look at me, here I am, doing great, fresh as a daisy. One time my mom burned my arm and I got a water blister from the burn. Because we were at my brother Moharin's Christmas play, and when it was ending, we went up on stage to look for him. But back then, my mom weighed about 150 kilos. So I reached out my arm to grab Moharin and hug him, and my mom did the same. But on the stage, there were lights that were extremely hot because of the electricity. So my mom, without meaning to, put all her weight on my arm, pressing it against that damn spotlight. And I started saying, "Ow, ow!" But with all the noise, she couldn't hear me. I tried to move her, but I couldn't until I had to pinch her so she'd notice. Once, when I was 6 years old, my dad used to tell me they were going to cut off my poor little willy because I wouldn't take a bath. And I would cry bitterly because I didn't want them to cut it off. But there were times when my dad would say, "Little piggy, go take a bath." And I would pretend to go into the bathroom, turn on the shower, but I would just let the water run and come out as if I had taken a bath. But in the end, my dad found out, and to teach me a lesson, he called his friend Dr. Simi, who was a doctor, and he said, "Little one, because you didn't bathe, Simi came to cut off your wee-wee." And I just stood there like that. And I said, "No, Dad, I'll take a bath now. I swear on my Hot Wheels tracks." Mom, I'm a criminal. Mom, I'm a criminal. Mom, I'm a criminal.